very good evening to all the distinguished principals here. So very quickly, I think as principals and teachers for many years, you all would have realized that children can only learn when they pay attention, and that's pretty obvious. But just quickly, a little bit about the science of attention. See, if you look at the brain and the brain, how it works, any information that comes to us, if you want to really learn something, you need to get into something called the long-term memory. So it has to pass through two filters. One is called, I think, the short-term memory, and then there's something called the working memory, and finally the long-term memory. Now the problem with the working memory in our brain is that it can focus only on about 4 to 6 things at a time. I mean, 5 to 7 things at a time. That's the maximum. So that's why they say just not more than 3 to 4 things it can focus. But the big problem is if you convert that in, they say you convert that in computer science words, it's about 2.5 bits of information. But if you look at the kind of sensory information that we are exposed to through our 5 senses at every point of time, it's enormous. They say it's close to 11 million bits of information from everything else. So the key role is when your working memory can just focus on 4 or 5 bits, 2.5 bits of information, how does the brain handle close to 11 million bits of information? And that is where attention comes in. Attention is the key driver of the way the brain decides to focus on only 4 to 5 bits out of the 11 million bits of information that comes to you. And that's extremely crucial because your brain can't handle more than that information. And that's a famous example of how you can focus on somebody in a cocktail party and listen to them when there are so many other people speaking. And you may have noticed that if you go to a noisy party, you can still have a conversation with someone in spite of so much of noise happening around, so much disturbance happening around. And that's because of the brain's focus or ability to attend. And only when you pay that attention, it can go into long-term memory, and that's where learning happens. So all of us as educators and people who want children to learn must understand that there's a tremendous amount of competition to gain the attention of the brain. And just to put 2 other points, the most important thing anybody will focus attention is on basic needs. Like if someone's hungry, somebody's in pain, they're not going to pay attention. And the second priority, once that basic needs are met, is urgent needs. Like maybe somebody didn't like your comment on Facebook and that's worrying you. They're not going to learn anything more. So only when these urgent things are covered, you can actually give them something to learn, and that can go into long-term memory. That's it.